Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone, in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. And then I finally came to realize something really obvious. Dinner is better if you're laughing while eating, huh? Of course it is. Laughing makes it taste better. How rude. The food is good because I'm a good cook, obviously. The harmonious moment, this happy circle. It was completely different than spending time with my family, but still somehow nostalgic. Satoko, do you want to see Nini? I didn't say Nini. Call him my brother, please. Hey, wait, you've been saying Nini this, Nini that this whole time. I grinned wryly and decided to just call him brother, like she told me to. Satoko, do you want to see your brother? Rika-chan stopped eating, then looked back and forth between my face and Satoko's. Satoko was smiling. She looked like she was trying to choose her words. Just from that, Satoko conveyed her feelings. Honestly, she wished he would come home right now. But she wasn't that weak. Satoshi should just do what he wanted until he was satisfied. In return, she'd let him have the scolding of his lifetime. And then she'd have dinner with him and lay out his futon for him. Well, of course I want to see him again. It's been almost a year. It's been that long already. Rika-chan smiled thinly, her eyes appearing to look far away. Well, Nini can do what he wants. It would lighten my load if he came back with more muscles and knowing how to do housework, of course. See? You said Nini again. You said it. I did not. I would never call Nini Nini. Things rapidly returned to usual, lively atmosphere of lunchtime at school. But nothing changed about Satoko's feelings toward her brother. She was living so bravely and so strongly. Hey, Satoshi, your sister is trying so hard to watch the place while you're gone, isn't she? Give it a rest and come back home soon. Got it? Satoko. It's time to clean up, or else we'll get sleepy. It was when we were all watching TV while enjoying some tea after dinner. Rika-chan let out a big yawn and then spoke. Satoko and I both then looked at the clock. I noticed how late it had gotten. No, perhaps we both realized it already. We just didn't want this warm moment to end. Maybe we didn't want to say anything. Oh, this will not do. I still haven't washed the dishes yet. Don't worry about it. I can do that much at least. You made a great dinner, so I can let you do the dishes too. Are you sure you'll be alright? When people are not used to it, try to wash them. The soap could make the dishes slip out from their hands, you know? Geez. She turned into a perfect nagging little sister. It was charming and awkward. Emotions like that were all mixed up inside me. I gave her a vague, dry smile. Keiichi-kun, at least wash dishes. If you break one and hurt yourself, I'll give you pettings at school tomorrow. Yawn. Rika-chan yawned again, so wide you could see her molars. Is it really alright? Keiichi-san is pretty unreliable despite how he looks. Give me a break. Looks like Keiichi's approval ratings have plummeted in Satoko's mind. Don't worry. I'll clean those dishes up, no problem. So don't worry about it and go home. Actually, at this hour, I can't let you two go home by yourselves. I'll take you there. Let me find the key for my bike. Once you've taken us home, Keiichi-san, will be the one going home by Keiichi-san will be the one going home by himself. You'll be in big trouble if you get lost in the roads at night and end up in Takatsudo. There's no houses or lights out there at all. I was trying to worry about them going home, but I didn't think they'd be worried about me getting lost. Am I really that unreliable? She really is being critical, but yeah, this feeling I have, it's not bad. So I ended up not needing to escort them. I saw off Satoko and Rika-chan to the gate. Thanks a lot for today. Thanks to you, I got a good cultural dinner. If Satoko hadn't come, Keiichi would be growling and yowling right now. Truly, it's really good that we came. They really saved me. I gave them another bow filled with gratitude. Oh yes. I put the rice and the side dishes into a container, so use that for your bento tomorrow. And for breakfast, you can eat some bread and jam. Strawberry jam and peanut butter were in your refrigerator on the middle shelf to the right. Cocoa powder, too, was in the upper right door of the cupboard. I know all that, you don't have to go into detail. I was about to say that, but I decided to humbly listen to her. It was then that I finally realized that Satoko, who had appeared to be in a bad mood, was in fact in a great one, just like Rika-chan had said, and that, though she nagged a lot, she was very kind. Then good night. Make sure to brush your teeth before you go to bed. I'm trying to decide if you use a picture of their eyes closed or one with their eyes open for a thumbnail. You have to do it for at least 5 minutes. I got it, Satoko. I'll brush my teeth and make breakfast for tomorrow, and I'll be sure not to forget the bento. You need to wake up earlier than usual or you won't be able to get your breakfast or bento ready, got it? If you like, I can give you a call a little earlier to wake you up instead of using your alarm clock. You don't have to go that far. I'll set my alarm clock to wake me up a little early. Thanks for being so concerned about me. Satoko looked like she had more fault-finding to do. But she stopped, and leaving me with a good night, got on her bike and disappeared down the nighttime road. Rika-chan went to do the same, but then remembered something and came back. What's wrong, Rika-chan? Did you forget something? Keiichi? You got 100 points for today. Clap, clap, clap. Rika-chan suddenly complimented me. She clapped her small hands. What was she on about? I didn't do anything worthy of praise, did I? I nearly burned down the house after all. Satoko probably felt like her Nini had come home. I think she was having a lot of fun. Once in a while, I want you to go along with Satoko's scolding in the future. Are you telling me to be like an older brother that she can scold instead of Satoshi? Rika-chan didn't say anything, she just smiled and went all, nipah. This Satoshi person. He has such a great little sister, so what was he unhappy about? If I were Satoshi, I would never have run away from home. Satoshi had his own circumstances, I'm sure. I didn't know what he was unhappy with. But whatever the reason, it was no excuse for abandoning Satoko. I hope he comes back soon. I probably can't play the role of her actual Nini forever, you know? It's okay. You were just like Satoshi today. Please do it again sometime. That's what would make Satoko happy. I'd take on this easy role whenever I needed to. Rika! Satoko stopped her bike under a distant exterior light and called out to her friend, who wasn't coming no matter how long she waited. Okay, I have to go. Good night. Yeah, night. I can't replace Satoshi, but Keiichi could do it. That's one less piece of baggage I need to shoulder. Leaving me with that, Rika-chan sped off on her bike. She rode up next to Satoko, and then the two of them disappeared in the blink of an eye. Satoshi, seriously, come back soon, got it? If you come home really late, I'll punch you right in the nose. Let's try our best until that day comes, Satoko. Even if I could no longer hear the sounds of their bicycles. I stood there for a while, seeing them off. You attempted cooking. I know one thing for sure. Satoko could fend off an entire army division by holding up in this mountain. I know all about it. Satoko was one of the Soviet military advisors that gave training on traps to that one country. Stop saying weird things. Somebody help me. How did it come to this? What traps did we fall for, and how did we fall for them? Mion was caught in a profusely thin pitfall she couldn't escape from, and only her head was poking above the ground. Rena's head was completely covered by a tin bucket, and she was squirming around in a vain attempt to remove it. Either of these really were funny. But that's where it ended. At least they had their feet on the ground. Kei-chan, what about you? Think you can get out of that? Hurry up and get out so you can save this old man. You're the one who should be breaking out and saving me, Mion. What are you expecting to do in this freaking bamboo mat? I was wrapped up in a bamboo mat and hanging 2 meters above the ground. Ah, what was this trap and how did I fall into it? Huh? It was Satoko. This all started when they suggested that I was unfamiliar with nature, having grown up in the city, and proposed a little exploration of the mountain. But Rena doesn't really know how it is back there either. Rena might get lost. How? The mountain and back, huh? I played there a lot when I was little, but I haven't gone there for years. If you get lost out there, things can get pretty dangerous. You can leave the mountain to us. The whole thing is our playground. Isn't that right, Rika? Mew. Oh, I see. How reassuring. We'll defer to you two this time and have you be our tour guides. Wait, Keiichi-kun? The summer vacation guidebook says not to play on the mountain because you'll get lost. It isn't summer vacation yet, so it's alright. We know the path, so there's no need to worry. The mountain has always been our playground, our backyard. We know all the secret paths and shortcuts. Yes, both Satoko and Rika-chan knew the path like the back of their hands. Thanks to them, we had our fill of fresh air, gorgeous views, and Mother Nature, the likes of which you could never see in the village, but things got strange partway through. Oh, yes. Everyone, I have something to say. From here on, you must follow exactly where I go, huh? What are you talking about all of a sudden? It would be safer to do as Satoko says. Oh my. Hey, Mi-chan, look at this. What is it? Should I pull it? Should I? Suddenly, squeak, crash. When Ren pulled the kite string, a bundle of bamboo spears fastened to a tree branch all came raining down, with a clatter right next to where Rena was standing. Wah! Wah! What is this? What? Yeah! That brings back memories. Satoko made this trap in the second semester of 2nd grade. That was a close one. The tips of the spears are covered in dog poop, so if one of them hurts you, the wound will start to fester. But when did this turn into freaking Vietnam? According to Satoko and Rika-chan, earlier in elementary school, Satoko had been on a trap-making craze, and set them along every inch of this mountain. Keiichi-kun, maybe they didn't tell us not to go on the mountain because we'd get lost, but because it was dangerous? Me and I both nodded wholeheartedly at Rena's hypothesis. Come now. We are hurrying on ahead. If we do not return soon, it will get dark. If it gets dark, it may be even dangerous for me. But you're the one who brought us to this crazy mountain. Why was an average, healthy Japanese boy like me being forced to deal with life-threatening booby trap? And then, The very moment Satoko and Rika-chan just got out of sight was when the three of us all got caught in nice little traps together. Someone get me out! I have to go to the bathroom! Never mind that, someone get the bucket off me. I can't see in front of me. How? Wait, Rena, don't struggle around so much. I can see your panties. How? You saw? Cage-kun, you saw? How? Smash, crash, smash, 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 crash, bash. Of course you can see them. You may be in a bucket, but you can definitely... Bucket Rena was using me as a sandbag, and Mion was crying. You can't get out of the pitfall. How sad, how sad. Jeez, didn't I already tell you all? You weren't supposed to leave my side. Finally, I had an epiphany. Satoko had been so bent on taking everyone out to the mountain because she wanted to brag about all the traps she'd set over the years. You could have stopped just at showing them to us. I didn't need to experience how it felt firsthand. Rika-chan pets our three heads in sequence in an incredibly satisfied mood. Okay. Anyway, lunchtime has finally arrived, Mion gleefully announced at the beginning of lunch. Oh ho ho, lunchtime at last. Someone here will have to play the punishment game, yes? Oh, the punishment game this time. It's a little scary, so... Sorry, but Rena went all out on making her bento. In Rena's case, I don't think she'd lose even if she wasn't taking it seriously. Meep. We tried our hardest too. Satoko and Rika-chan made separate lunches today? Usually you have the same bento, but that won't do for the showdown today, will it? Yes, it's quite alright. Rika and I made sure to make separate ones. Wow, Satoko-chan and Rika-chan both tried really hard well too. How exciting. What's a little surprising is that Kei-chan was able to make a bento. Good job, Kei-chan. It looks like you really can do it if you try. I scratched my head and gave her a dry smile. My bento today had been made entirely by Satoko last night. It had none of my personality, so there wasn't anything there that could be praised me for. What does Keiichi-kun's bento look like? Oh, I can't wait to see. Don't expect too much. It's just leftover rice side dish last night. Leftovers are the foundation of bentos. Oh ho ho! Now we'll know your dinner last night too. We'll kill two birds with one stone. Was it really better to hide the fact that Sato came over and made dinner last night? Well, of course it was. If I revealed that I didn't make my own bento, I'd be sure to end up playing the punishment game. Today's punishment game was to stand right in front of the curry maniac Chie-sensei and say bad things about curry. It wasn't too different from telling someone to jump out of a 100th story window. It was exactly the same as telling someone to die. But Mi-chan, how will we decide who wins and loses the bento showdown? Keiichi-kun made his own too, so maybe we should call it all a draw today. We could do that. The punishment game yesterday was sort of a whip to encourage Keiichi to cook for himself after all. And Keiichi made his own too, so it's a draw. My simple bento, last night leftovers, could never have stood at everyone else's bento that they made to win. I fully understood Satoko and Rika-chan's concern for me as they tried to end the showdown peaceably. However, the club president, Mion Sonozaki, would not be convinced by something like that. I wonder why you're all so optimistic. Leaving one of our showdowns in such a gray area is out of the question. Now that we've clashed, we must settle the score. Reconciling with a draw only happens in the Yakuza world. I knew you'd say that. There's no way you'd end it that way with our battle. Ended that way of your battle lust. This was bad. This rate I was sure to be the sole loser. But well, I didn't make this bento after all. Maybe I need to resign myself to my inevitable loss. Okay, me. How are we going to decide who wins? It won't be fair if we grade each other's. Let's do an open judgment. Okay, everyone, assemble! Mion commanded everyone who had just started eating using her club president voice. I'll come and judge our 5 bento. Write your favorite 3 on a piece of paper and submit it. Understand? Everyone in class was used to being dragged into Mion's club activities. Yeah, came the energetic voices from here and there. Everyone already knew that the showdown this time involved an utterly fatal punishment game, and they were all very interested in what would happen to whoever lost. How big is the class, though? Of course, they wanted the thrill of seeing something terrifying. Okay, everyone, ready? Then I'll go first, alright? Ta-da! In an exaggerated fashion, Mion pulled the lid off her multi-tiered, ornate bento box. Multiple cheers of joy erupted at the brilliant sight. That's amazing. It's just like New Year's food. It can't be. It has to be a lie. She must have switched the contents with a catered bento. Such purely Japanese cooking. Mion Sanozaki couldn't possibly make this. Nope. This is easy for me if she gets serious. Chan, she almost never gets serious, though. Coo. Just who do you think this old man is? Given enough time and ingredients, I could even reproduce the Manchuhan Imperial Feast. The entire classroom gulped audibly, and everyone wrote down a score on the notebook paper in their hands simultaneously. It made sense. Just the visual impact would give her a perfect score. Alright, let's see Rena's next. Rena's really good at cooking, too. Rena's bento is always like a flower arrangement. Aha. Thanks, everyone. I'll reveal my bento now. Rena's bento was a beautiful mix of the 2 colors of eggs and minced meat, and it too was a bento staple. The Soboro bento. She had been through with the side dishes as well. Thorough, and they were abundant in number. She had spent more time than usual on it, but it was unassuming and truly nonchalant. One couldn't ignore the household warmth in it that Mion's bento lacked. If I may say, you've done it again. This should get quite the high score. I should have known. It may look rigid, but there isn't anything to deduct points from. Amazing as always. Once again, every one of the judges wrote a score on their notebook paper at the same time. There seemed to be some who were revising their opinions when they compared to Mion's score too. The whole classroom seemed split between Mion and Rena, and on everyone's face it was clear that they all wanted to be tasting them rather than scoring them. Then we'll be next. Yes, I will now reveal mine. Come to think of it, Tatarigoroshi ate with me last night at my house. It was impressive they still made a bento. Both their bentos were clearly lacking compared to Mion's artfulness and Rena's perfection. However, because of that you could sense from how hard they worked. The toppings were a little on the rough side, but you could still feel that they tried their hardest. That made you feel a little biased so that you'd give them more points. A few people, struck by just once again, revised their opinions and wrote in scores on their notes paper. Tatarigoroshi, you both made really good bentos, Chan. They may not measure up to Rena and Mion's craftsmanship, but when you think about it, they're pretty amazing. Satoko and Rika-chan glanced at each other and grinned happily. This is a secret, okay? Mutter. Eh? What? When Satoko told me, I broke off from the others and secretly looked at my classmates' bento boxes. There's Tomatoki-tun's and Okamura bento boxes. I took a quick peek inside and half of the contents were missing. Not bad. In the end, Satoko and Rika-chan hadn't made bento today. A bold move. They got Tomatoki and Okamura to share their bentos with them. Hey, Tomito-kun? Okamura-kun? How did they buy you out? Well, what are you saying, Mamoru-san? When did we get bought out, and for what? That's right. It's not like we traded them our duty watering the garden for half of our bentos. Curse you, Satoko. What an impudent trick. Satoko grinned, showing her fang-like canines, and laughed in triumph. Oh, this is only something I learned from you, Keiichi-san. Oh ho ho. Yes. How naive buying them out with watering duty alone. They're men. If you're going to buy them out, you need to use something a lot spicier than that. For example, like giving them 3 tickets to walk Satoko Rika-chan around like dogs all day? With them on all fours, wearing tails with leashes around their necks? Whoa, that might be enough to get me to do anything. As I was lost in my wild fantasies, Mion clapped me on the shoulder and called me back to reality. Damn, it was just getting good. Alright! Next up is K-chan's bento. We're all hoping for something pretty great because of your declaration yesterday, but how did it really turn out? K-kun can do it if he needs to. Rena was really excited for today. They're all looking forward to it. But it's really just leftovers from dinners last night. I didn't even make it either. How was that supposed to stand me on Rena and the others? That's it. Feast your eyes on this. Ha! I tore the lid off my bento box. There weren't very many cheers. Well, I guess there wouldn't be. Keiichi-kun, you tried your hardest too. Rena can tell how hard you worked. Rena, don't feel like you need to compliment me. How did this happen? Was Keiichi-san actually a hard worker after all? Cuckoo, well, I want to acknowledge how hard you tried, but for the showdown it doesn't matter. Cuckoo? Mion's cold, mean laugh. It was like it spoke for everyone's opinion just like that. Keiichi-kun did really well considering it was his first challenge, you know. I think maybe everyone should rate his a little higher. But for the showdown it doesn't matter. Cuckoo, alright, Kei-chan. If you have any last words before we tally up the results, I'll listen to them now. What do you mean by last words? That you might be hoping for a few extra points if you appeal to the crowd? Cuckoo. After all, for today's showdown, you just need to avoid coming in last. If you do well enough, then maybe you'll be able to worm your way out of the punishment game. Oh, you are implying that Keiichi-san's bento is going to take last place, aren't you? No, this old man wasn't trying to say anyone's bento came in last or anything. Are you taking that personally, Satoko? Because, since it is the food you made, so every insult she makes on that is actually an insult on yours. Mion cackled repulsively. In contrast, Satoko's smile was growing somehow awkward. Oh, right. The bento was filled with last night's side dishes. That means it was basically a bento that Satoko made, and Mion outright said it would come in last place. Mi-chan, aren't you being a little mean? Poor Keiichi-kun. Rena, Kei-chan knew he couldn't lose today's bento showdown beforehand, didn't he? He did all that grandstanding yesterday. We're well aware of that. I don't think there's any reason to go easy on him, do you? Right, Satoko? Yes, you are right. Does Mion suspect? And he came here with this mess. It makes me laugh. Oh ho ho. Wait, Satoko-chan, you can't laugh at him. But this bento is just ridiculous. I can't help but laugh. Are you hurting your own feelings, Satoko? These side dishes look like they were bought from a shop. It's really disillusioning. Satoko, are you hurting your own feelings? Look, this one was just taken out of a can, wasn't it? This cucumber here isn't cut cleanly. Like the knife didn't go all the way through. Kei-chan, you never used a knife, did you? Your lack of experience is apparent. No, this goes beyond simple lack of experience. The presentation is fairly monotonous as well. It's almost a shock to see such a lack of taste. It was my first experience putting food into a bento box, so of course it's not going to look too good. Kei-chan, there's a bigger problem than how you put it into the box. Tomito, Okamura, explain, please. Okay. Tomito Okamura were chosen from our many underclassmen. Tomito-kun quickly adjusted his glasses and took a step forward. The fatal flaw in Mabara-san's bento, it's the coloration. As you know, there are 3 primary colors forming the basis of all colors. So if you want a well-balanced color scheme, then including white and black, you need these 3 colors. Nevertheless, if you remove the white and black from Mabara-san's bento, it will be all left as dark and green. Dark green. No one will want to eat it if you describe it like that. I had forgotten. Tomito-kun and Okamura were bought out by Rika-chan, so they were trying their hardest to let them win by making me lose, weren't they? Honestly, I can't say I'd really care too much about presentation. As long as the food doesn't look gross, I don't care about color and presentation. As long as it tastes delicious and it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. God, what strong wills they have. It was charming, if only because they were working so hard despite having been bought out. The side dishes have no spirit in them either. They're all prepackaged or canned food. In other words, the 3 necessary requirements for a bento, love, spirit, and taste, we can assert that Mabura-san's bento is lacking 2 of these. The classroom, convinced by the elucidation of mystery that they were thoroughly baffled with, raised mysterious groans of admiration. Coo-coo-coo. No heart and no spirit. It's decided. Keiichi Mabura. This may sound cold, but have you realized how much fun cooking is because of all this, Keiichi-kun? Isn't that enough? Enough? In any case, everything is fine as long as I'm not doing the punishment game. Rena was giving a dry hee-hee smile as well. Oh ho, it's been settled, Keiichi-san. You're going to be one doing the punishment game? Oh ho. She laughed in such a vile manner, but she didn't look like she meant it. I knew that Satoko was speaking ill of a bento that she'd practically made herself in front of the whole classroom, and I could tell how painful that laughter was. Okamura said before that this bento lacked spirit, but among all the bento laid out here, there wasn't a single one with as much spirit as this one. This meal that she made from yesterday is such a good mood. Though it looked like she was in a bad one, I won't let it end with this slander. Well then, last place, Keiichi-san? Please admit your honest defeat already. Could you wait just a moment? When I began to speak in a low voice, the expressions of all the members of the club changed. Mion clicked her tongue. This man was baring his fangs the last moment again. My bento was defeated because it lacked spirit. That's how you explained it. Am I wrong, Okamura-kun? Okamura-kun, who had suddenly been placed in the spotlight, looked flustered for a moment, but immediately he stammered in reply that was right. How do you measure spirit? By difficulty? By effort? By sweat or tears? By its manifestation? Then how would you rate these burns that are still in my hands? Wow, Keiichi-kun, those are oil burns. Great. The burn marks from when I almost caused a fire just looked like I was having a ton of trouble cooking. I could clearly tell that the classroom was forced to acknowledge the effort I put in. I see. To turn your failures at cooking due to a lack of skill into scars of hard work instead. As I thought, I cannot falter around this man. That's right. I lack skill. I'm so bad at cooking that my grandson yesterday was pitiful. But I didn't run away. I fought. And I delivered these results. Is that not spirit? What do you think? Rena wants to acknowledge it. Nobody can keep on going if their defiant spirit doesn't get valued. The girls in the class started to nod in agreement. Okay, the tables are turning. But Tomotoki Tsunokoku, bought out by objects of their unrequited affection, weren't about to lose either. They shifted to the counterattack, clearly exceeding the price they were paid. I see. I understand your feelings, Mabura-san. However, if spirit was all that mattered in cooking, then the world wouldn't need chefs. That's right. If a chef brought you a burned steak and said they put their spirit into it, tried hard, would you pay them? You wouldn't, would you? It's the same thing. That's right, that's how it goes. The male students took Tomota and Okamura's side. God, they did have a point. What about consideration, even if you did get a totally black steak? If I knew how much the mother who made it struggled, I would eat it. I would eat it all. Clap, clap, clap. This time, the female students' classroom took my side. Good, good. Now we're even. Besides, a bento is a refinement of one's love given form. If only that means something when the other person feels that way. Does your bento make us feel that way, Mabura-san? No, it doesn't make us feel that way. You're mean. The girls in the classroom began to boo loudly at his remark. Now Nakamura was panicking. Order, order. Will the spectators please refrain from making remarks? Your Honor, in order to prove how much my spirit's gone into this bento, I call Miss Ryuga Rena, an authority in culinary arts, to the stand. Rena thinks this bento has spirit in it. They might be rather artless in places. But I think cooking isn't just about outward appearances. The girls in the class gave cries of sport as they all applauded. In response, all the men in the classroom began to boo. Your Honor, the opinions of Mabura-san and Ryuga-san are extremely sentimental, and art and following common sense. They are unsuitable to use as evidence. Order! Order! The prosecution's objection is sustained. Go ahead. Ahem. Let's replace the bento in question with a birthday present, for example. Let's say on my birthday, I, Tomita, received a hand-knitted sweater, and he, Okamura, received a bookstore gift certificate for 10,000 yen. That felt strangely real. Was it actually just an example? Common sense dictates which of them has the spirit. It is, of course, the hand-knitted sweater. If we went back to the bento, this would be handmade side dishes. The gift certificate, which is nothing more than money, allows you to buy things. In other words, simple, meaningless canned goods. The boys and girls began to argue amongst themselves about presents. They were all talking about what they received as presents in the past. Damn, Tomita-kun, he changed the subject to something that could easily grab everyone's attention. Not bad. I'll lose the initiative at this rate. Objective. This matter regards the spirit put into the bento. It is entirely different from birthday presents, as they are each unique situations. Overruled. With the prosecution, please continue. Damn. Now then, what's important here is the fact that the spirit of the giver and the spirit of the receiver are totally different. Between the handmade sweater that looks a bit askew and the 10,000 yen bookstore gift certificate placed here before your very eyes, which you say is the better choice? The gift certificate, right? It's 10,000 yen. 10,000! Can you calculate how many comic books you could buy with that? You could instantly complete a full collection if it was around 10 volumes long. Dozens of happy, humorous, slightly perverted manga. The bliss of your soothed heart can't be compared to the sweater. The boys unanimously praised with applause. Materialistic brats. But all you guys that age are all like that. Even I would choose the gift certificate over the sweater in that case. Hey, wait, weren't you guys the ones who said it was about love, spirit, and taste right at the start? Since when did taste trump all? That's the stance that we're talking now. I believe this has demonstrated that the spirit of the giver and the spirit of the receiver has no casual relationship or causal relationship. Why don't we let everyone try a bite of everyone's bento? Yes. No matter how much Mabra-san struggled to make this bento, that cannot enter into consideration for the rest of us receiving end. Okay, maybe it doesn't look the best. Maybe it tastes better than everyone else's, though. A mere sophistry, Tomita-kun. It has plenty of spirit. Whether that gets through is not the receiver's problem. That's right. Boo. Taste is more important. Enemy of women. What was that, ugly? Ah, now the corner room is in chaos. But I can't allow myself to lose. And not only to avoid the punishment game, but also to protect Satoko's honor. Now then. Do the defendants have a response to give? Slowly and strongly I nod and step up to the dais. Tomita-kun, Okamura-kun, do you two really think you can beat me with mere words? The prosecution just said that we should value the gift without basing the spirit of the giver, correct? At some point I began speaking formally. Yes, that's right. No matter how much you labored to make the bento, that labor should not be a factor in our grading. Then I have a question for the prosecution. If I, Mabra, were to take the bento I made for today and placed it beside one bought from the store, would both of these be given the same score? The prosecution hesitated to speak. Got you. That's right. A convenience store bento doesn't even come close to a homemade one. No matter how badly made it has far more spirit than a bento you just bought would ever have. You see, the spirit is being graded, meaning the spirit the cook put in the bento has already reached the recipients. Admit it. Boom. With those impactful words thrown in the air behind me, I pointed my finger. The girls led by Rena broke into applause. Some of the boys were admitting it too. Meh. I'll admit it. You admitted it. You admitted it, right? Then let's move on to a convenience store bento has no spirit in it. What exactly is the spirit of a bento in the first place? Objection. Mabra-san is trying to deceive the court by using abstract expressions. Objection overruled. This sounds interesting, so let's listen until he's done. Got them. Now I'll show you two the difference between us. Your Honor, I'd like to call Miss Rika Furude to the stand as a witness. Meep. Even for Rika-chan, that must have seemed like a bolt from the blue. There is no doubt that she ever dreamed that this point of my spear would be aiming at her. But Rika-chan, you said it before. For this showdown, it doesn't matter. The points don't even matter. Whose line is it anyway? Rika Furude-san, your bento today was very well made. It looks delicious. Meep? Yes. Satoko Rika-chan's bentos have been made of half of Tomita-kun and Okamura's. The prosecutor's face has turned pale, but they were too late. Rena, would you bring Okamura's bento over here? Huh? Okay, sure. Your Honor, My bento has no relevance to this case. Overruled. Kukuku. Your Honor, I submit Okamuro's bento box as evidence. Look at it. Okay, this is playing dirty. This is a step too far. Look at what's inside. There's only half in there. It's not whether it tastes a little more closely. See? Ah, they're exactly the same. Your Honor, you've seen it. Miss Rika Furu's bento is stolen from Okamura-kun's. There's no way such a thing could have spirit in it. No, but that's just a coincidence. It's already obvious. Spirit is the game we catch between giver and receiver, but the bento box then is the ball. That bento was something Okamura was given from mother to son. That means Okamura-kun is only one who can feel the spirit from this bento box. Now that it's been disturbed and been stolen, it no longer has that spirit. Okay, this is... I wouldn't go this far with the point. We shouldn't even have known that. Dun dun dun. Yay, that did it. Huh? What? Is that true? Rika-chan, is that true? Meep. Nipah. Cuckoo, I see how it is. Mion the judge folded her arms and began to hum. I couldn't even take a guess as to what Mion was thinking about. Frankly, I didn't know whether I would win or lose. Okay, before announcing my judgment, I'll start from the top. Shh. Entire classroom quieted. First, from an objective standpoint, there is no doubt that the bento of the accused, Keiichi Mabara, must be seen as poorly made. This is something that the grading results clearly display. Gah. But as Keiichi said, cooking's not all about taste. The spirit put into it consider the subtle seasoning. For grading, though, that would only amount to a few points. It's so subtle that it's not enough to alter results. Grr. Now then, I'd like to mention the original reason for today's bento showdown. What was the reason for it? That's right. We started to see whether the accused Mabara could cook for himself and to measure the result. Yeah, that's right. Keiichi did make his own bento. Irk. That stung my conscience a bit. But for the wrong... But for the showdown, it didn't matter. So the whole basis behind the showdown was to cook a meal for yourself. In other words, whether or not the meal was homemade. Rika-chan neglecting to do that is a much bigger problem than how good her bento is. In other words, is she disqualified? Okay, I feel bad for this, because the only reason they couldn't make the meal was because they helped me. I should have just said, hey, should you try everyone's and hope that, they would like the taste of... They would have an issue with the taste of Mion's or Rena's. Nipah. Rika-chan let out a nipah, looking as though she had prepared herself for this outcome. Don't take it personally, Rika-chan. At our club, things like that don't matter. Keiichi did well, like I thought. You tried your hardest until the very end. Rika-chan demanded I lower my head, and then she petted. With that over, this case is closed. Today, last place goes to Rika Furude. Whoa! The miraculous turnaround. And last place went to Rika. The one everyone had at least expected. The whole classroom went wild. Hemph. I'm amazed you managed to avoid coming in last with such a terrible bento. Sato looked at me hatefully, but spoke in a vague kind of voice. There's no way I'd come in last. There's nothing in this bento that would deserve last place. But, it's got ready-made side dishes and canned goods, and has no style, and grab. Satoko was speaking more and more poorly of herself as time went on, so I roughly grabbed her head and began to stroke it. I told you, spirit is important. This bento isn't all about appearance. It's all got all flavors in it. But spirit is the only thing. Yeah, I was thinking we should have just had everyone try our bentos at that point. Even if it's to prevent Satoko's bento from being in last place, it's kind of fucked up to throw Rika under the bus. We should have everyone taste the bentos and assume that maybe Mion's or Rena's wouldn't be as good. Yeah. But spirit is the only thing. It tastes totally weird, and what about it is weird? I thought it was great. It was absolutely great. That's why I packed it. If dinner last night had been bad, then I would have never brought it to school. I would have come here with some bread and a milk carton. But Just shut up already. I caressed her head, swinging from side to side. At some point, Rena had come up behind us. She was giggling to herself. That was the face of someone who had known everything from the beginning. When did you realize I hadn't made it? When you showed us your burns, I guess. I mean, there's nothing in your bento that you needed oil for. Rena-san? Don't you think you're misunderstanding something? I didn't do anything. Huh. Satoko-chan, you weren't the one who made this bento. You weren't the one who made this bento? Wonder how Tomika and Okamura will respond once they realize that the bento they fucking shit-talked was made by Satoko. Then did Keiichiku make it by himself overall? Okay. Then I guess he did. Rena smiled roughly and turned from Satoko to me. When you cut cucumbers, you hold the knife like this and go like this. And as for the colors, you can express all sorts of things in places of vegetables the right way. This lecture was clearly not meant for me. But you've gotten a lot better since last time you showed us. I see you've been studying. If you keep this up, I bet you'll be able to make better and better dishes in no time. She continued saying words clearly meant for Satoko while facing me instead. Satoko was wearing an ambiguous look, and couldn't even nod her head at her. Anyway, no matter what anyone says, I like the way my bento is today. I'm not going to share it with anyone else either. I'll eat the whole thing by myself. Wow, how greedy. Rena wants to try some too. As we were going back and forth, Satoko rubbed her eyes as though she was drowsy and then announced to Mion and everyone else. Excuse me, the truth is, I got Tomita-san to give me some of his bento. Stupid! Hojo! What are you saying? If she'd kept it a secret, then at least she would have been saved. Tomita-kun looked at her with an expression filled with regret and surprise. Huh? Is that true? Really? Oh my. Mion spun her finger around and pointed to the hallway, sentencing Satoko to the punishment game as well. Satoko left the classroom behind her, completely prepared as though she was going with Rika-chan on an errand. Well, at this point I have to say that Satoko cooked my food. I can't let Rika go alone. Well, now I have to go with you guys. I will accompany her to the very depths of hell. I gotta go with you. You don't need to go that far. Now I have to go too. Because there's no way I can just... If Satoko hadn't said anything, then it's like, okay. Let's stay as is, but if you're gonna do that, then at that point, I need to be open about, you cooked my fucking food. My word, Keiichi-san really is terrible too. Humiliating only Rika like that. He is truly a rotten person. I couldn't just return Satoko's kindness with malice. Hey, Satoko really is silly. Rika-chan spoke so that only I could hear her grinning happily. Now then, hold on. Let me tell everyone that you cooked my food. Let us be off. Wait! Punishment games are one of our duties as club members. Satoko seemed awfully happy, not frustrated in the slightest, like she always was when she lost. Damn. Rika-chan's right after all. Everyone here is a moron. Mion. I'll come clean too. I didn't make my bento today. I was the same, so I'm going with them for the punishment game. Huh? Even you, Kei-chan? What's going on? Ahoo. Good luck. With the punishment game, I'll get the first aid kit ready. Call an ambulance in advance, will you? Look, I need to actually tell them who made my thing, though. And maybe a hearse, just in case. Leaving a bewildered Mion and a happily smiling Rena behind the classroom, I went into the hallway. I should have shared that it was Satoko that made my lunch. What are you doing? You finally won for once. I had no idea you had such an odd taste for these punishment games that you'd go so far as to volunteer yourself for one. Guess so. It's a little much for a hobby, eh? I swear. I think you're underestimating this one. We're one thing, but grave harm might actually befall you, Keiichi-san. I hope you're ready to have 1 or 2 ribs broken. That sounds like it would hurt. I don't like getting hurt. Keiichi-san, you just stand there and nod along, okay? Rika and I will smooth it over. I swear. I can't believe I have to look after you even during a punishment game, seriously. I already knew that her pouty behavior was a sign that she actually in a really good mood. I suppose I'd probably just, go above and beyond and just try to trash talk Curry the worst. So it made me want to smile. Hey, I do want to eat some vegetable stir fry, Satoko. Can you make that? What? Well, there's nothing I can do if I can't do if I put my mind to it. She can make it very well. I really like Satoko's stir fry. She was uneasy at first, but once she got assurance from Rika-chan, she turned back and looked at me once more with confident eyes. It's settled then. Let's go shopping for stuff after school today. I don't really have any idea what to buy after all. This is true, isn't it? I think it's still too early for you to go shopping at the supermarket, Keiichi-san. It would make me anxious if I wasn't watching. And Satoko makes me anxious that she'll buy the wrong thing if I'm not watching. Rika? Meep! The conversation continued as we walked until we arrived before the door to the teacher's lounge. Okay, let's get this punishment game over with and discuss the menu for tonight. Meep. Rika-chan gleefully grabbed onto my arm. In turn, I pulled Satoko to me, grabbing her shoulder with my other hand. We'll all be together in death. I won't let anyone die alone. We're all together. I won't anybody die alone. What an indiscreet thing to say. I know part of something so disturbing. She may have sounded annoyed, but she was so happy that it was going to make me blush. Alright. Just beyond this door is the world after death. However, we shall return. All of us will. Yes, everyone will. Then, let us sally forth. Slam. We opened the doorway to the world of death, and like she did every day, just as the sun rose in the eastern sky, Chie-sensei was eating curry for lunch. It was store-bought, but she made a point of eating a different brand every day. Oh my!